exciting to learn about a new player, a new face in the LEC. Welcome to the casting desk. Welcome, beautiful crowd.
I've missed him. He's back.
I'm Drakos. This is my good friend Caedrel. Thrilled to be back. Thrilled to be casting here for these 2 games today. Obviously, our start schedule today is all of the bottom 4 teams. Vitality amongst them, catching a lot of people off surprise. And we'll see, because this could be the start of a turnaround for all of these teams. But a lot is going to depend. I want to see high-quality gameplay today. That's what I'm hoping for in these first few games, that these teams are ramping up, that they're improving week to week, because you kind of, if you're going to start winning, this is the place where it has to happen, because you're playing other bottom teams.
Yeah.
It does not get more, easier. It doesn't get easier than this.
Easier,
it doesn't.
Easier for sure. I think these teams definitely similar power levels, but I think importance of the game is definitely that we got the lights going. We got game 1, week 3, day 1. Misfits versus BDS. Let's get into it. How'd you like the new music, Drakos, huh? Funky, huh?
Felt very seductive, I'm going to be honest.
It did feel seductive. I was looking in your eyes like a whole song.
It's a lot.
Oh, yeah, it is a lot. But we're into draft. 12.12, of course. We had a patch rundown. Belvet's enabled, so we'll see if either of these teams want to pick it up. I think the most important thing to me is Vetheo nerfs. Yep. Is Vetheo still high prio? If it isn't, is Wukong just instantly the best jungler in the game? Because, you normally trade them off sometimes if Wukong was open. We'll see what happens.
And certainly a big question, right? These blind pickable, reliable junglers are such a cornerstone of any draft in the current meta. And taking one out of the pool, leaving Wukong and potentially Volibear uncontested as the 2 remaining options is a big deal. But Seraphine, Senna, 2 champions we expect to see potentially a lot of this week, depending how teams were scrimming. They're often not able to be as quick as solo queue is on the draw, but Narban not too surprising here. Irrelevant, obviously, pretty big comfort pick for him. Yuumi also now getting taken off the board. So bot lane, I want to say it's going to be spicy, but I don't think that that is necessarily true. It's just going to be limited, I would say. There's no guarantee that we get anything particularly wacky at this point, and sadly, they have taken the Void Empress away from us, Caedrel. We had so much prep ready to try to explain the very complex math behind this character.
So it's actually banned away. Interesting. So what's the first pick here? Surely it's Wukong, right? With Vetheo nerf, that's got to be the strong. Corki is here. Have you been gone for 2 weeks, Drakos? Right?
No. Well,
and since the durability updates, Corki is here. It's back. You can never get rid of it.
All right. We'll see what happens here. We were talking about this today when we were watching the LCK games earlier on your stream, Caedrel, looking a little bit at the Ahri as potential options here. Obviously, the pick potential, the setup. Corki still a scaling monster. Tons of poke to be paired with alongside that. GP, though, appears to be the safe blind pick option coming in alongside the Volibear. See how Misfits want to respond here. Interestingly, Wukong not seeing that level of priority.
We'll see if Shlatan wants to pick it up. He's only played 1 game so far. We know him as the Lee Sin extraordinaire. In week 1, week 2, Lee Sin was banned out against him so many times. Cinkrof prioritizing that Volibear. GP, of course, so powerful. Vetheo still looks like it's might be a flavor of the month for still the pros, even despite the nerfs, but there it is, the Wukong swap. Now the question is, like you talked about bot lane. We see Kalistas being picked, especially in the LCK, early rotations, having that bot push. Obviously, after 2 or 3 items, the champ does fall off if the game's quite even. Kalista damage doesn't look great, even if when you're ahead sometimes.
She feels really good, I think, against champions that are very kiteable. Volibear probably counted amongst them, but certainly you are going to get out-damaged by a GP as we get later into the game. And I don't know how you're on the opposite side, but you know what? Here's the thing. When you are 5-0 tearing up, the ladder, tearing up the standings, I'm like, experiment. Get out of your comfort zone. When you are fighting at the bottom, pick scaling team fight. And Misfits have got it. Every single champion on their team scales well into the late game, and now they have 2 fantastic sources of engagement.
It looks great on paper, doesn't it? You just cut off the rest of the draft. Corki, Wukong, Orin, package, Orin ult, Wukong ult, AoE, damage, scaling. Frontline, it has everything. The only problem I think that they have right now is they have a losing top matchup and they have a losing mid matchup. I was talking to a few pro LEC mid laners and they were talking to me about how Corki blind pick, the only danger of it is Ahri into Corki. And that's why teams basically blind Ahri, because Ahri into Lissandra is much more manageable than Corki into Ahri because the amount of kill threats you're under at level 6, especially with the setup from Volibear and Ahri. So let's keep our eyes on that. Brown Band to me from Misfits is good because obviously it stops the Ornhorn, but it also is good into champions like Nautilus if that's what they want to set up for. Some ADs being banned away here by BDS. I think the ideal bot lane for Misfits here is something like a Kai'Sa Nord, something that can jump in, follow up with the Wukong, or an Ezreal kind of Karma lane to poke. You have two options of diving or playing with the Corki.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I really love the Kalista ban is we already talked about how they have 2 losing lane matchups. So you really want your 3rd lane matchup to be winning. You cannot afford to lose out on priority across the map, especially also when you're playing against a GP who will have access to the global ultimate pretty early on in the game. It could be a very difficult early game, and it's hard for Misfits because while on the one hand, team fight, scaling, AoE CC, great, wonderful. But when we look at how Misfits won, the single game that they have won, it was dominating early game. It was roams coming in from mid, from Vetheo, an excellent performance coming out from Shlatan. It was about that early game, not the mid game, not the late game. So while this is a great composition on paper, I do want to see Misfits execute this well. I want to see them play it cleanly because BDS are setting up to fight for prio in all 3 lanes. Karma, you see that champion locked in, you are pushing.
So I think BDS knew their options for bots were Ezreal, Karma, Kai'Sa Nord, and they just went for the one that they felt like was better. They're going to go for Karma. I expect Ezreal. The only problem here is if you pick Ezreal into Kai'Sa, it's not great, of course, for lane, but they obviously prefer that side of the matchup than giving over the Ezreal Karma because you're under so much oppression in a way where you're trying to walk into Dragon Pits, Corki Rockets, Ezreal, Karma, Mantra Qs, whatever it may be, just being thrown in your face. And with the GP, they want more kite back rather than more dive. So they want to play on range here. BDS want to keep Misfits at arm's length, try to poke them out and look for picks, especially on the Ahri Volibear. Misfits just have a really well-rounded comp when it comes to team fights, tick. AoE damage engage, tick. Kite back, tick, right? So Misfits well-rounded, Team BDS a little bit more nuanced to how they have to play the game.
Certainly, in Misfits composition, we have to remember that one of the few downsides of it is that the early laning phase will be difficult. Volibear, an early game terror, we know that it's been the same as long as he has been relevant in pro play, and similarly, the Ezreal Karma. Very likely that they will take over the lane, that they will take that priority away. If Misfits weather the storm, their life is easy. They have CC, they have frontline, they have all the tools that they need to take control of the map. But if they fall behind, if BDS can execute on what is a harder composition, then Misfits' game plan could fall apart.
And the reason it's harder is because you have 3 winning lanes. Now that might sound counterintuitive, but the thing is you have to win the lane. You have to come out ahead against your counterpart to merit the difference in scaling and teamfight that the Misfits comp provides, right? So Ezreal needs to be ahead of the Kai'Sa, Corki needs to be behind, Ahri needs to be ahead, of course, and the GP needs to be ahead. You need a 2-3k gold lead around the Dragons, and that evens out the teamfight strengths that they have, but you still have to play it well. One hook hits Karma, she's dead, right? So you need to be very careful on positioning.
And now it is time. First game of the day, Misfits Gaming versus Team BDS. Who will find their second win?
New HUD. Excited to be back with the new HUD.
It's so pretty.
It is.
We're gonna push this button.
Okay,
Maybe.
push it. Push
Rune
the
info.
button.
Oh, I did that for me, but you guys also get to see it. Cool, first strike, very standard. Nothing crazy here.
No, nothing too crazy.
But
I think
oh, wow, that's a lot of power. I don't know if I feel good.
you have a lot of power now. You have a lot of buttons you can press.
Really ruin the viewer experience if I want to here.
Definitely can. I wanted to give a little bit more context behind the Seraphine pick. Just a little bit off topic in a way, because EU were the first ones to kind of bring it out.
And I think in this early game, at least for now, short of an aggressive early game debate, which it looks like we won't see from BDS, you do have a bit of time to talk about the meta.
Yeah, so there was this this interview with Ashley Kang with Hoyt, and KDF were the ones to bring out Seraphine Ashe against T1 and give T1 their first loss in their 23-24 game win streak. And the quote was, "Our coach Alvingo refers to the LEC a lot. He links us LEC VODs to watch, and that's where they find the picks that they want to play, right?" So I think that the LEC and G2 or the teams just in Europe just pulling out things like the Seraphine, inspiring LCK teams, is already a good sign for Europe in a way, because Europe has always succeeded when they push the meta forwards, right? And they've always, when they have Mage's bot, you think back to the days, you know, even sometimes when it doesn't work, you know, when Perks plays Mordekaiser bot into Yuumi, you know, sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it's 6, but innovation and creativity I think is so important, because since the durability update, there's been so many champions which have just risen to priority, you know, Kayle is one of them, you know, Seraphine, Enchanters are so strong, and as much as it is their weakness sometimes, Europe, playing Enchanters bot, it's great to see that they're already kind of setting an expectation, a bar.
Sure, certainly. And I think one of the things that we also have to look at is the BDS bottom lane, speaking of those things, because I think one of the reasons you can't look at EU, hold that thought, hook is going to go and connect on the Karma. It's the nightmare scenario! The one thing that could not happen has happened! open to clean. Level 2 gank, a bit of cheese coming out from Shlatan, but damn does that cheddar taste good. Misfits finding the advantage.
Very smart play by Shlatan. What he did was he just read into bot. BDS didn't actually ward for it. They put a ward in the river, maybe in case... Hang on a second, MSF hit by another hook.
Level 1 Ezreal? Oh, there's nothing. Level 2 Ezreal could handle this, but level 1 Ezreal just getting bullied.
Yeah, this heal for exhaust trade there. A lot of damage goes down, Ignite use, but this is the thing that Karma's going to run into this game. Whether it's a Wukong knock-up, a Nautilus hook, an Ornult, if anything hits Erdote, he's dead. And this is the problem with the winning lanes. Because you need to push and press your advantage, all 3 lanes are vulnerable. So level 2 gank straight down, easy kill. They're going to try to re-establish the push, but now you've unlocked Mersa to roam towards mid. We'll see if they pincer here. Cinkrof does have a little bit of information onto Shlatan on the top side jungle, I believe, with that ward on his blue, so they should spot him out.
Gonna go for clearing the control ward now. Shlatan as well, moving to the jungle. See how he just continues to clear the pathing. But this is important for 2 reasons. One, we talked about the value of the Karma and how BDS need to play this game, how they have to find these leads in lane. But it's not just BDS, it's specifically xMatty. When we look at the team that has been struggling, it's rare to find impressive individual numbers. It doesn't often happen, but xMatty individually, week 2, big numbers. 758 damage per minute. Really, really solid performance. So if there is any single player to shut down, regardless of composition, on the side of BDS right now, it feels like it has to be xMatty.
And for context, that was against G2 and Fnatic, right? That wasn't against bottom tier teams. That was against the top of the table, right? And just thinking of Spring, a lot of people, Matty's performance, extremely underwhelming. Fantastic at Euromid last year. But a lot of people were saying, you know, Crown Shot should come in. Matty should be replaced. His Spring was awful. But he came back from Korea, earned his spot rightfully so, as BDS went with all 10 players. They came back with Matty still on the roster, so he must have had some good performances in scrims. And now in week 2, he's already showing up, so that's a good factor for BDS, and they need to keep that train going. See how much he does this game on the Ezreal. Has a tough task ahead of him, a lot of dive. And a lot of frontline that he has to poke out. Now Erdote has moved towards mid as Matty's taken a base. We'll see if he can chunk out Vetheo here. The importance of the Corki, and just mid lane mages in general, ganking the lanes and getting their mana pool down, when it's a Corki Valk 100 mana or an Azir WEQ to dash away, that can single-handedly win you the lane. Doesn't matter about the health bar, but getting their mana out is so important.
Yeah, and getting the push as well, and you can see minion dematerializer taken for both Vetheo and NUCLEARINT in this lane. Neither one wants to give up the push. The potential, especially for the Ahri to roam, is a terrifying prospect. It was how Vetheo himself was able to get such a massive lead against SK, roaming down to the bot lane, forcing these early dives, and now we see the battle taking place, and as you highlighted, Vetheo almost already. Blue buff not coming for a very long time, given the cheese gank that Shlatan pulled out earlier. He didn't take that blue buff till a minute ago, so he's going to be sitting under this tower waiting for a little while. Good news is he has the TP at least.
What kind of cheese do you think a cheese gank is?
I said cheddar
You
earlier.
said cheddar earlier.
Yes.
It could be...
But I think it depends. It has to be a stinky cheese because it's like one side really loves it, but the other side
clearly not. It's blue cheese because he's blue side.
It doesn't feel... Cheese enthusiasts out there, please let us know what cheese you think it should be, because blue cheese I feel like is the basic stinky cheese. There has to be something stinkier.
No, just because they're blue side, blue cheese
in-game. Actually,
you know, it has a bit of lore behind
right,
it. You see what I'm saying?
I see.
As,
I have bad brain. NA brain. That's a struggle.
Oh, well, Cinkrof spots them out here. I think BDS can take this 3v3. They have mid-push. We'll see if Agresivoo gets level 6 soon if they have a GP ult.
Walking forward, waiting to see if he goes over the wall. Shlatan spent a lot of time there trying to bait, trying to fake with the clone, but Cinkrof happy to throw that damage down just to ensure that the dragon can be taken away. So on the one hand, Misfits, it took a lot from the BDS bottom lane. On the other hand, they gift-wrapped a dragon.
Yep, it's the classic tie for leash in all chat in your solo queue game just to get in the enemy jungler's head. Well, we can't see chat, of course, but I'd have done it. We'll see if Cinkrof did it after the game, I'll ask him. But regardless, that's first dragon to BDS, which is what you would expect because they have a winning bot and they should have a winning 3v3, but because of the early gank, they were actually getting pushed in. So that was actually a Misfits dragon to take, so BDS still maintain it.
And those little things certainly will matter as we get later in the game. Just at least denying those objectives away from Misfits delays what it will inevitably be a 5v5 around a big objective. And again, as we pass level 6, Misfits team, you have to feel just overall when it comes to scaling more favor for the 5v5s, not because the champions on the side of BDS can't do damage, not that they can't be impactful, but when you look at AoE CC, when you look at reliable setup, when you look at frontline, it's just so much easier for Misfits to play these fights.
Oh, Cinkrof.
Cinkrof?
Does Irrelevant doesn't... Oh my god, he's a sneaky bear.
No one say anything. Oh, run!
He's gonna get out.
The little sirens.
The little... yeah. Shlatan's gonna get level 5. 7 minutes in, just hitting level 5 as jungle. He's extremely far behind. We'll see if he can catch up. I mean, after that crab, I think 2 camps topside should push him to level 6, but that definitely saves the day for him. If he didn't get that crab, he'd be so far behind. You can see the jungle CS already, and that's because of the the blue cheese gank in bot side level 2. Put his AD carry ahead, put himself behind.
Yep. And big for the Kai'Sa as well is obviously getting 100 AD, upgrading the Akathian Rain early on can be the difference between being able to dive on the Ezreal and solo kill him and not. Luckily for Matty, though, he's respecting the matchup. He has packed that exhaust just to make sure that he does have some tools to at least get away in the 1v1 as we get later into the game. And Neon's having a good laning phase. And you know this for a lot of reasons, but mostly it's the triple biscuits. This man has not had, he got to eat the karma for breakfast. He didn't need the biscuits.
Dude, he's going to open up a bakery after this game. He's going to keep those biscuits the entire... I think he's just doing it to taunt LS. Poor LS. He's just keeping those free biscuits in his inventory just to taunt him at this point.
I don't even know how much they sell for anymore.
I think they sell for... They used to sell for 50, I believe, but now they sell for very, very little. I don't know the exact number. I'll say something like 7 to 10, somewhere around there. But it does give you the mana when you sell.
Yeah. Which matters. Obviously something that you need. But we'll see if there's going to be a tier going to this Kai'Sa's inventory. I doubt it. Seems like we're back on the Kraken Slayer train. Long gone are the days of the tier Kai'Sa build. But bot lane, you can see, has settled a little bit. Yes, it certainly was not the lead that BDS wanted, but they are now at least surviving in this lane. Neon and Mersa have an advantage, but it's still hard to trade into the Ezreal Karma short of a fully committed all-in.
Yeah, just for context, Kai'Sa builds they don't go, I'm just looking now, there's no mana immunes anymore. It looks like it's just a straight Kraken Slayer, Collector, or Dominix into PDIE, just kind of basic full crit. As Misfits trying to move towards Herald here. Cinkrof has a great position for Vetheo.
Cinkrof locking down Vetheo. Vetheo going to leap over the wall, but now it's Mersa who has been caught out. Shlatan on the way down. Leaping in is the bear, but the knockup is still going to come through. He's running, but it's inevitable! The monkey cannot be stopped! Orno from downtown, and Neon grabs another one.
Just look how much CC Misfits have. Cinkrof ult flash away. It's an Ornn ult, it's a Nautilus ult, it's a Wukong ult. So much to escape from. Ends up falling, and yes, they burned a lot of ults, but they should get the Herald.
Ooh, excellently played. Good response to what could have been a disastrous play. Shutting down again. Corki already, we saw how much mana he lost early on. Vetheo no TP coming through, of course, traded for NUCLEARINT, but dying there could have been very, very bad. That said, it's looking like a bit of a tourist herald here from the side of Misfits. Not quite enough time to reset it. And ultimately, BDS going to commit enough resources to take this one for themselves.
Yeah,
it does reset.
Huge top wave just crashed. Irrelevant has to catch it. Vetheo was no mana, 20%, 30% HP. He can't move towards the Herald. And the fact that Shlatan has no ult means he can't contest. So, yes, they get the kill, but they're going to have to give it up. So, even trade overall because Herald gives around 320 gold. Again, Cinkrof finds a great pick. Vetheo W's away here, but then he tries to ult flash. Nautilus ult's following him, gets knocked up. Flash ult from Shlatan, gets knocked up. Ornn ult comes in, guess what?
Yeah.
Gets knocked up.
Yeah.
And then they move towards the Herald. Quick stat. Marcus just pinged me in my ears.
Yes.
Shout out to Marcus. He says the cookie's 5 gold. I knew it was in that vicinity. It used to be a lot more, and yeah, we'll keep track. We'll do the biscuit trackers.
Yeah, you can tell when Riot Games is the no fun zone when something gets reduced by 90%. That's that's a roughie.
Stop selling those biscuits.
Do not sell the biscuits.
You're supposed to eat them.
You have to eat the biscuits.
Because Riot gives them to you.
It was a
as
gift.
a gift.
It's actually very rude for you to re-gift them to the shopkeeper.
It's like selling grandma's cookies. You know, you just don't do that.
That's a good business. That's like foundational for many family businesses. I'm sure.
It's a good business actually.
Grandma?
If they taste good.
Yeah. Well, not my grandma, but hopefully grandma's out there generally.
Yeah. We'll keep track of them. Irrelevant has one of his own. So, Dragon is up. We'll see if Shlatan tries to sneak this one away. Looks like Cinkrof is not anywhere around to steal it from him this time. So Misfits will pick themselves up the Dragon. Now, when that Dragon dies, Cinkrof will get a lot of information, and NUCLEARINT will have mid-push. We'll see if they go 3-man top here and pop Herald, because that could be an option.
And I think it's important to note that while the gold still feels relatively close, that it is only 1,000 between these teams. And remember that at least 360 of that will be earned back by this Herald. Misfits are well ahead of where we expected them to be in the early game. And again, their composition much easier to execute. I like this from Irrelevant, trying to delete the wave, trying to slow down what is probably an inevitable dive. Going through, unstoppable for a brief moment, trying to deal a little bit of damage back, trying to delay this, the GPL coming in. But that's not a wave for them to push on. They can't use the Herald here.
Yeah, really awkward, because the fact here is MSF and Erdote at the base, so Misfits are just hitting on this bot tier 1, and as much as Irrelevant died, they're kind of getting the gold back from plates alone. So if they had a wave there, they could pop Herald, take a full tower. So smart there by Irrelevant to clear the wave. Unfortunately, he falls.
No. But I think overall a worthwhile trade. Yes, they give up the kill gold, but happy to have those additional plates shutting down the Herald. Really, it is eyes on Cinkrof. 2 minutes effectively to use that Herald if you want the plate gold. Not sure how long is left on the Eye of the Herald timer, but probably needs to use it on the bottom side of the map or in the mid lane if they're able to get pushed. But that doesn't seem like it's going to happen with Mersa waiting in that mid lane brush.
See Cinkrof moving towards mid here. Erdote has set up a trap in the pink ward bush as well. He will get spotted now, Cinkrof. Neon needs the base. He's probably sitting on a lot of gold. Manny's dashing on top of him.
I like it. I like the confidence. The exhaust is going to fade away. Neon ulting past his ultimate, getting the big shield. Matty not trying to throw any damage into it. Matty, you're just dead, man. Walking. No! Oh, 11 HP!
It was 9 at one point, or 8. There was a single digit of HP bar. Neon just missed the kill. Flashing forwards before Manny could flash with the confidence to land the full Q. Doesn't get the kill. Both AD carries gonna have to base regardless. I think Neon, yeah, just sitting on so much gold, just bought a full Kraken Slayer now, so that lane is definitely gonna go in the Kai'Sa's favor now. Manny getting away with murder there.
Certainly. And you can see maybe why he wanted to go for the play, because Kai'Sa had yet to buy. That was a brief moment where their itemization was comparable. That is certainly no longer the case. That's gonna be 180 for Neon. He is going to activate the fully upgraded Acathian Rain. And this is gonna be very, very difficult for Erdote and xMatty. This is not going to be an easy lane for them to stay in. The potential of any CC to bring Neon flying in is probably a death sentence for this BDS bot lane.
So Cinkrof's revisiting top here. Erdote has flash. GP ult is on cooldown, but the barrel's going to connect. Just going to pop the Herald and give information that he's here, because obviously plates are falling off in around 40 seconds. Cinkrof just wants to get this down and get plates into the GP's back pocket. There's no cross map available for Misfits right now, but it looks like they're going to collapse towards top. They're hovering around. Maybe they just try to focus on mid and bot plates.
Ulti used from xMatty earlier. You can see on the right-hand side of your screen that the cooldown is coming up. It will help them clear out some of the wave, but it's this one tower going to be traded for 2. Neon trying to chip away at that last plate, trying to get that extra gold. A lot of armor on that tower. Not sure if he's going to be able to do this one. Acathian Rain does come out, buys a brief another second. Overall, though, BDS just getting what they can. It was a good Herald. They do break the top lane tower, but the response on the opposite side for Misfits keeps the gold in their favor.
Yeah, and I think the importance here is when we looked at the draft, the expectation was BDS 3 winning lanes with an early game jungler. They should come out of these lanes with a gold lead, but it's Misfits with the gold lead and the better teamfight comp, so BDS needs to pull a rabbit out of a hat soon and get a gold lead. Next Herald could crack open mid tower, then they can start setting up for Drakes and picks. That's the ideal situation, but if this Misfits carries get the 3 items and Ornn gets the upgrades, then I feel like the front or backs are just going to be extremely difficult. A lot of gold onto the GP right now. We'll see what he can do and what he builds towards. We're seeing a lot of Death Stance, Titanic Hydra, Cyrilda's GP. A lot of people on socials aren't a fan of it because you basically have no crit and your barrels don't do anything. But it does make you a bit tankier. Mersa.
Flash in, the hook. Ornn now coming back across the side. The Karma can't do anything. The Wukong now going over the wall. NUCLEARINT using every charge he has just to make it away from that spinning monkey, and BDS losing control in the mid lane.
One hook hits, Karma's dead. I'm telling you, there's nothing Erdote can do in this game. Even when he has flash up, if he's chain CC'd, he falls. He's not tanky enough to withstand the ults. And the second one person falls, a lot of BDS's kite back is gone in the Mantra E.
And again, ease of execution is so important for a team when you are struggling. You need to have that confidence. Confidence easy to find when you have so many tools. That said, Mersa maybe overstaying here, trying to move away, trying to get a little something done. Another hook, he makes it out. Oh, that's a bit of that's a payback.
Yes, flash
for how xMatty managed to escape in the previous one. So it's 1 for 1. You know, it's an honor thing. They let xMatty go.
Yeah.
They're letting Mersa go. We'll pretend it's intentional. Sportsmanship.
We love to see it. Sportsmanship here on the Rift. BDS gonna force Mersa out and get this top crap. They need to make sure they don't overstay here. Dragon spawning in 30 seconds, but Cinkrof has no ult, and Agresivoo just used his trying to get a kill. So by the time it spawns, I feel like BDS are at even bigger disadvantage. Maybe they just have to try and focus this Herald down.
And of course, if you want to see more sportsmanship yourself, lec.gg/Malmo. And if you're unhappy about my presentation, you can buy tickets and tell me in person. There you go. That's how we do that.
I liked your presentation.
Sorry,
you remember that presentation you did 6 weeks ago in week 3? Yeah, I didn't like it.
I would be so impressed if someone did that. That would be
that would be
respectable levels of petty, and I'm all for that. That said, going to be very hard for BDS to do anything else at all in this game, and it's a grim state because the gold lead again, and we see this so often in the meta. They're usually only around 2K, 3K when one team has an advantage. They're not massive like they were in patches prior, but the composition from Misfits, as we have seen in just about every one of these engages, very easy to start a fight. If BDS misposition at all, they will lose total control. And that's it, total control.
Presentation, loved it. This one I liked. No, but just looking at this, I thought that there was going to be a Dragon for Misfits and a Herald for BDS, but Misfits actually deciding to put Neon top means that they can control the Herald, and it looks like Misfits are playing for gold here. They're playing for top tower, they keep their bot tower alive, and now they have Heralds from mid tower, whereas BDS get a Dragon, so it doesn't sting too much. They're still 2 Dragons away and you win team fights, so playing for gold early makes more sense. Just means you won't have that Dragon Soul for a little bit longer. I think they're fine with that because I'm pretty sure they're very conscious of how they outscale. But we will have a crit cloak on the GP, so it looks like he'll build towards things like the Collector maybe, and then we'll see the crit build come through.
I think similarly for Misfits, at the point in the game where they're at, it is never going to bother them to fight and contest a Drake. They have the tools to face check, they have the tools to get into the pit if they need to, so just getting the immediate goal, getting the pressure on the map may be more valuable for them, stops BDS from splitting across lanes, or at least punishes them if they do opt to do so.
Definitely does. There's a Herald place, and what they can do here with Irrelevance grouping up is they can throw out the Ornult and force 2 towers. Maybe a GP ult has to be used on the wave, because you can fake pressure BDS off here because they don't have much wave clear, you know? There isn't Jinx Rockets to clear the backline. There's an Ezreal ult maybe that Manny will have to use here, but I think Irrelevant could just pop Ornult and they have to run away and they can force a tier 2.
Hesitated for a moment. They thought maybe they would play for the Ahri, but it does look like it's going to be the 2-tower play. Well called, well predicted, Caedrel. And now Cinkrof caught out a little bit here, and there goes the ultimate. Nautilus finding the knock on xMatty. Misfits now on the retreat. The GP ultimate trying to stop their escape.
Wow, and they're out 2 towers mid. BDS get absolutely nothing. Agresivoo's pushing in top. There's no wave bot to play on for this bot tier 1, so Misfits just grouping up and brute forcing the play, and no response from BDS just yet. TP from Vetheo to catch the wave, and happy days.
The only thing really earned back, of course, was that pressure on the top side, some of the CS that was denied, TP from Vetheo, but overall, it seems like every single trade is just going in favor of Misfits, and the hits just keep on coming. Emote's now coming out. Mersa can just back away. Cinkrof gonna get burned down by Neon, or is he again? He just lets them slip through his fingers. Neon finished the job, man.
TP coming in. That's from Agresivoo. He should be able to kill Mersa.
Oh, excellent, excellent charm. The timing flawless. It won't mean a lot. Just a display of mechanics there at the end. A kill now traded back. Neon trying to back away from Agresivoo. Well used on to deny the barrel there. Ultimately, Misfits, though, still finding advantage.
Looked pretty dire for BDS. NUCLEARINT, no ult, no flash. Looked like 3 members of Misfits would just chase him down, but it looks like a little bit of a split call. They went on to Cinkrof, who luckily escapes with his life using his flash there. And then Agresivoo TPing back in means it's a 1-for-1. The amount of damage he did with that Q was absurd. Just instantly took out Mersa, who had flash up, but of course it hurt. So we're going to take a look at the replay of this play. So no flash, no ult. All Mersa has to do is hit a hook, but he knows if he misses, it's going to be a long chase. So he wants to wait. And then Shlatan and Neon go into Cinkrof. Looks like a free kill, but the stun comes in just in time, and then Cinkrof flashes out. And now it's just Irrelevant versus Ahri, and Mersa has nowhere to go. If he runs back, he's running into Erdote. If he keeps running, he's running into Agresivoo. Boop. He gets blocked, and then NUCLEARINT gets taken down.
Messy exchange overall, and certainly anything that's even is not going to hurt for BDS at this point. Of course, the struggle is there's not really a clear break point that they're waiting on. There's not a big item spike. Maybe Ezreal, second item, would feel pretty solid, but normally when we look at compositions in games, it's like, ooh, they're waiting for this. You know, they're waiting for that item. This, if they get this, maybe they can get their way out. But I think that ultimately for BDS, yes, they need more items, but the execution just has to be flawless. And sadly, with the lead that Misfits have accrued, with how strong Neon and especially Vetheo are at this point in the game, it's just going to be very difficult to play League of Legends.
Yeah, it should just be a victory lap, even though it's only a short lead. We'll see if BDS can find picks. That's the importance here. Dominic's picked up by the GP. He should start to win out on the side lane against the Ornn. Will do a lot of damage if he can hit the right barrels. We've seen what barrels can do in teamfights, you know. Yeah, just get one good barrel combo on the backline. They're instantly either 10% HP or dead. Obviously, durability update helps that a little bit. So I think Misfits' play here, keep mid-push. Maybe they could even force a Baron. Make the Karma walk into you. That's a no-flash Karma having to walk into Ornn, Wukong, Nautilus, right? Good positioning, and you can play that really smart and really well around it. Erdote is the one with wards, so he's going to be the first one to walk up.
And this is the point, if you're a Misfits fan, that you look at how clean their setup can be, how controlled they can be in pushing this lead and securing this victory. If you're a BDS fan, you cross your fingers and you hope for that steal. They need to find a way into this pit. They need to find a way to stop this, because for now, Misfits are keeping their eyes on the Baron. They're continuing to do this. Control Ward will give them the knowledge that they need to keep things going. xMatty's ultimate is going to connect onto Vetheo. Not a lot of damage, but at least a bit more information, a bit of chip.
Very awkward scenario here. You can tell Misfits are not really sure what to do with the Baron. They want to turn, but they can't find a target. BDS don't fall for the trap of walking into river. They just hover around with Cinkrof threatening a steal. So definitely a good game for Misfits to work on their Barons, work on their comms, and something that they'll definitely look and reflect a lot on, because they have very good setup, very good turret. It's just a case of finding the right moment. Shlatan might be caught here. The pick could happen. Just a barrel combo. Drake spawning in 4 seconds. TP coming in. Does Vetheo have package?
Vetheo moving forward. See if they can get the Ornn ult. Zone them away, but the Dragon burns down a lot faster than the Baron, and that means it should just be an easy pickup. But the fight still is going to break out here. Immediate Ornn ult across 2 at the front line, deleted. NUCLEARINT running for the back line. Vetheo in the midst of everything. They're just getting shredded. Oh, they just don't have the stats. They don't have the HP. They've got nothing left. BDS getting run down. Cinkrof at least doing a little bit of something on the back line, but they're getting torn to pieces.
It's the meat grinder of Misfits. Their comp, incredible team fight. Good engage from Irrelevant. Good hook from Mersa. Vetheo follows up with the package. There's absolutely nothing BDS can do. They come into these team fights at a gold deficit against such a powerful team fight comp that scales so well. Misfits looking towards a Baron here. Neon's on the way up. They have a lot of damage for it. 10 seconds on NUCLEARINT's TP, 15 on Agresivoo. Even if they arrive, I'm not sure if they can contest this, but MSF's around. We'll see what he can get done. Should get the Scars Bloom. We'll see if he can poke them out a bit.
Sweating when the Kaisa W hits before he remembers that the ulti was used in the fight. Ezreal ult across the team, not going to connect on any major carries. They've got a bit of poke, but the lane phase was when they were supposed to be strong, and it all fell apart there. That means a quick Baron for the side of Misfits. BDS maybe think that they have to take this fight, but if they make a single mistake against a Baron buff team with an Ornn, with all of these tools, the game will be lost.
They just invested double TP to witness a Baron die, and then the enemy team run away, and what do they get for it? Nothing is the answer. So we'll look at this again, and it's Mersa who kicks this one off. Ornn ult is good. The R1 comes through, then Mersa flash hook onto NUCLEARINT, gets the knock up with the ults. We'll see that here. And then this R2 from Ornn hits, then the Corki package comes through, the dive from the Kaisa. There's so many things to keep track of as the BDS carries, and we talked about ease of execution. BDS, their comp, if you're a top 3, top 4 LCK team who knows how to play through lanes really well and has extremely strong lane phases, then it can work because you play through those gold leads you accrue yourselves. But if you have to play the team fights against the comp that Misfits have, you have no chance.
I know you were expecting me to cast that one, but I felt like we could all see where that one was going, so.
Now the siege begins. It's as simple as this. Ornn ult can be popped if they want to force it. There come the Ornn upgrades onto Vetheo. Cha-ching. Some free stats. It's a good deal.
It is a good deal. I'm never going to turn down free stuff.
You know what impressed me the most about the Ornn upgrades? The names for them. Some of the names are wild for the Ornn upgrades.
I think who wrote those names, whoever did that, was just like given absolute liberty, because they're like, the chance that people read these is exceptionally low.
Yeah, like Kraken Slayer becomes how do you say that?
Worm.
Worm Fallen Sacrifice.
They just spelled it the metal way, so it's like a D&D worm and not like, you know, a worm in the ground.
Ah, I see. And then
you literally just Google Ornn upgrades and you can look at all of them. Why are you Googling them one at a time?
Because I'm Googling the ones in the game that are upgraded. I should probably just wrote it Ornn upgrades again.
You are sometimes the dumbest smart person I know.
Okay, sometimes my efficiency sometimes is not the best, but they're the only ones that I saw with the little orange thing around. So I was like, you know what? I'll Google those.
What's the icy one called?
It's the one second.
All right. See, there's no shame in not knowing the answer.
It is called
friends, audience. Iceborne. Is it Iceborne Gauntlet? Anyway, we're getting distracted. And if you're wondering why, it's because it feels like BDS are already in the grave. They're 6 feet down. Misfits certainly have been digging it, and it feels like the next fight, the next mistake, will be what ends this. Of course, looking at the GP, looking at the bounties, listening to the sounds of the audience cheering for objective bounties, a rare thing, but one I appreciate. That maybe there's a bit of hope remaining for BDS. Maybe they can find a way back in. Cinkrof, though, getting caught out, trying to Volibear ult out back to safety, but no, with NUCLEARINT who's tanking the ult. Now they're trying to turn back on a Mersa. GP ult not doing nearly enough. Cinkrof, how many people are going to walk away with sub 100 health? That's 3 this game. Cinkrof, Miracle Man, absolute Houdini. I have never seen a bear disappear like that, but he makes it work.
Does indeed. Will escape with his life. And Misfits don't get themselves a kill. Mersa got extremely low in that GP ult, but he doesn't fall either. Nobody dies. And yeah, Dragon spawning in 58 seconds. Let's not forget, BDS are on soul point. If they can pick up that soul, that'll always help, right? It's going to be there for the rest of the game. Get a couple more items on the GP ult to the Hextech soul sounds pretty disgusting. One crit barrel chain, you know, can do extreme work. It looks like he's building towards a collector right now. We'll keep our eye on that for now. Collector into IE could be the build, but is he going to get to that before the game ends?
And I love this because on the internet, there's the immortal, is Collector good? Is Lord Dominik's better? Why engage in the debate when you can build both? Also, Collector is unapologetically very good item on GP because obviously the ultimate will proc it, it's any damage. So you can find these long range executes. It does feel very good in these fights because next time someone's at 20 HP,
now they ain't getting out.
They're getting collected, Caedrel. No one is walking away from these fights alive anymore.
We'll see if the Pirate can collect one at least this game. Misfits just beginning the siege. A lot of big CS lead there for Agresivoo. 2.1k gold Erdote. Wrong push, buddy.
Being picked off. Oh, things falling apart very quickly as Shlatan looking for the chase, is ignited, but leaps forward, Nimbus Strike, crushing blow.
And there goes your shields, there goes your peel, and now Vetheo can dash forwards.
He's going to do it. There he goes, the kill! Oh, he just can't catch a break, xMatty. xMatty and Cinkrof tag teaming the survival duo. The surviving, though, is not enough to win a game of League of Legends. Whee. Poor Neon. There are 6 players who are going to lose this game, and Neon is one of them because he just cannot finish
the kill. He should be 5-0 right now, right? The bot lane one, now this one. Maybe Cinkrof as well, 6-0 in the bot lane and between tier 1, tier 2. Anyway, Dragons up, Misfits.
He could have built the Collector. That's all I'm saying. This game is the biggest advertisement for the Collector I have ever seen.
Base Drakos. If only he had Collector.
If only he had Collector. Never thought I'd say that.
Misfits going to collect the Drake. Minion hip down. Baron in 1 minute. We'll see how Misfits' Baron execution is. Start it up. Try to look for a turn here. You have no real excuses in not being able to do it. You know, sometimes if you can't tank the Baron, you have a lot of squishy champs. I get it. Sometimes you don't have enough turn. I get it. Sometimes you don't have enough damage. I get it. But Misfits have it all.
Certainly. So I think now that this game feels mostly wrapped, and we'll wait and see, BDS can look for this. We need to talk about what this game means. It's a best of 1. It's only week 3. But this is important because we're trying to find out the stack ranking. And right now it is bottom 4, it is top 6. But maybe it's top 7, maybe it's top 8. It depends on how close these standings can get. And Misfits seem determined to claw their way back up. Sadly for BDS, this game, this performance, they drafted a very difficult execute comp. If they had executed, instantly I would have been like, wow, BDS, what a team. The fact that they can play, the fact that they can execute this, but the fact that it fell apart so early on to something as simple as this level 2 gank makes it hard for BDS in the weeks moving forward, because suddenly this thing that they've probably practiced all week does not feel viable in the face of even the competitors around them in the standings.
Yeah, just one cog in the works, one spanner in the works just makes it so hard to play the game. You know, you want to play through bot push, you want to path towards bot, whatever it may be, and then all of a sudden bot prio is gone and it's the dominoes falling apart. But definitely a lot to reflect on in terms of composition. Again, not over yet, but with a roughly 10k gold lead and the setup already, this is BDS's last chance. This is their last stand. If they get this Baron, they can hold on. And if they can hold on, the GP will scale very well towards the Infinity Edge and do a lot of damage. It's just a question of, can you steal this Baron, Cinkrof? Will they get vision? Yes, they will. Misfits, they have the package, they have Ornal, they have everything they need to turn. Who's going to get it?
Cinkrof, where's it going to go? The only thing that matters is the steal, but they're going to hold it. They're not going to finish the Baron. They're going to look for the fight instead. It was just a giant bait. Neon instantly in the backline, and there will be no survivors this time. Shlatan leaping forward, NUCLEARINT just trying to get anything back. Cinkrof running, but no. The last man standing is the big bear. He can't steal anything because they weren't interested in the objective. They wanted the fight, and they want the game.
Is he going to get away on 1 HP again, Drakos? Is he? Vtheo's not allowing
your breath.
it. One more rocket.
Hold your breath. The rocket, the sidestep. It's clean. The movement, no.
Here you guys take it
down. It was too big. The big one was too big.
It definitely was in this case. 5-for-1. Misfits are going to end the game. I think that team fight just shows how Misfits comp works. You could look anywhere and they were winning out on the skirmish. Someone was knocked up, someone was CC'd, and the Nexus is going to fall. Erdote, last man standing.
Misfits finding their 2nd win in the summer split. Their victory versus SK last week, potentially the start of good things to come. They take BDS down handedly. xMatty playing for pride, playing for a final stand, but ultimately it's Misfits who come out on top.
Definitely isn't. Drakos, I feel like we've got the LEC circle of suck again. BDS beat G2, almost beat Fnatic. Yeah. Misfits beat them. Everyone beat Misfits. Yeah. Apart from SK. It's the first few weeks of LEC.
It's interesting.
It's always messy the first few weeks of LEC.
And because everyone could have been at 2-3 or 3-2 heading into this week, and we could have said we had the ultimate hyper-competitive scene. Instead, it's the circle of suck where people can't beat everybody, but they can beat at least one team
who beats someone else.
And
that chain never ends. But Misfits will be happy.
Yeah, I think it's again, a lot of changes for a lot of different teams in this offseason. Usually spring to summer, very quiet. Was not the case heading into this summer, so you give teams a bit of leeway in the first few weeks, but certainly week 3, week 4, it's where you want to start seeing at least some momentum building. And for Misfits, there is some of that momentum. There is some of those signs of hope, and it's something we have to keep our eyes on. On the opposite side for BDS, a tough game. Again, they drafted a harder to execute composition that was a glass cannon in a lot of ways, where it had the potential to be incredibly powerful, but had to be executed flawlessly, and all it took 1 or 2 mistakes for it all to fall apart.
Definitely did, and that's exactly what happened. Misfits just kind of ran away with it. You can see the players just fist bumping on stage, a little bit of sportsmanship, and then just talking about Misfits. We know the Misfits as the streaky team. They're the one team that win streak, lose streak, win streak, lose streak. This could be the start of the win streak. Of course, the mood is so important. You have a 1-0 when you're struggling, or you have 2 wins, you have a 2-0. It can really change the mentality of a team, and I feel like if Misfits just get aboard that train, they can ride through some wins.
Yeah. And again, you've seen how competitive the league is. A lot of people rising up, a lot of people falling down. Playoffs race, especially for those 5th and 6th positions, is going to be wild to track over the course of this split. So right now we're like, best of 1. Week 3 doesn't matter a lot. When we get to head-to-heads later in the season, teams are going to be dreading. They're going to be looking back on single mistakes in these games in week 3, week 4, week 2, week 1, depending on who they're matched up against, and being like, oh, what if? A little bit different here, a little bit different there. Would have been something to track. However, key player of the game, this is where you get involved. At LEC on Twitter, Irrelevant, Vetheo, Mersa.
Mersa had some really good hooks, some really good engages, but Vetheo's Corki last week, 100 CS lead. He had like 400 CS at like 32 minutes. This game again, Corki
did Neon
was...
not make the list? Oh, because he didn't finish those kills. That's fair.
See, the thing is, if Neon got those kills, he'd have a really cool scoreline. You have a lot of kills.
It's kind of like the disappointed dads who are like, you got to eat your veggies on your plate before you can have your dessert. You got to finish your kills before you can have... Yeah, he left
God
2
damn
veggies.
it, clean your plate.
Clean your plate, dude. Yeah, so now you can't have your key player of the game. Sorry.
Nope,
Vetheo, Mersa, Irrelevant are the options. So far, it would appear from draft at least that a lot of the more exciting champions on the patch, the Senna obviously opening up the potential for a lot of things. Seraphine, I never thought I'd say she's exciting, but in this context, yes, it's interesting. Belveth as well, a lot of those champions taken away. So I wonder if these champions are good in scrims, or if this is brand new patch, not as much time to practice. Let's just shut those things down. We'll have to see.
Good question.
As the day and the week progresses.
Yeah, a lot to work on through scrims. A lot of champs to figure out. Durability patch is going to take a couple more weeks to fully unfold, I think.
Belveth broken or just a scary void mommy? It's hard to be sure.
A scary void what?
Mommy is what I said. Shlatan standing by with Laure. Let's see what he has to say.
Thank you guys, and thank you Shlatan for joining me for this interview. Congrats on taking down BDS. I guess that it's a really important win for you given the rough start of the season for Misfits. Why is this one so important?
Yeah, it's really important. We won like on the 1-4, or I don't remember how much, 1-4 or 1-5. We won only one game, and I feel like we played really bad on stage. But honestly, I think with time we will get better and we get used to the stage. You can see it already for the last 2 games. Obviously, we didn't play the toughest opponents ever, but we did better anyway. So
a win is a win. A win is a win. And do you feel like you're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel? As you said, training was not the best right now for Misfits. But yeah, with this win, do you think things are going better?
Yeah, I think we took a bit different approach in terms of meta and what we were doing in practice. So I think with next few weeks we'll keep improving and I think we will get more wins.
Tell me about the approach here against BDS, because we know that usually BDS is a very proactive team, especially in the early game. Mid-game is usually when things go bad for them. So you could have just chosen to slow the pace, not let them any opportunity, and then wait for your time to strike. But you were aggressive in the early game. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, in the draft we already had kind of first target kill team comp, but we also picked a lot of scaling. But it doesn't mean that we have to not do anything in the early game, right? They didn't put a ward on bot lane, and I knew that in this bot matchup they will play aggressive, so I decided to level 2 gank them. Probably didn't have to flash, actually, I could save it. But it gave us a lot. Kai'Sa was fed, and then we just snowballed it through bot. We could have done a bit better job. We could have executed it quite faster, but I don't think we gave them any opportunity to come back, and we scaled. We did the early game, but we scaled anyway.
Scale and win. Feels like it's the approach right now in the game. Last question about you. You came as one of the rookies in spring. Now you have to train a rookie in the top lane. Tell me about playing with Irrelevant and how it changes your approach as a jungler.
Since he's a rookie, he has not even been playing competitively for a long time. Not even in LEC. Just in ERLs, he played maybe 1 year. So yeah, he's really inexperienced, but we talk a lot. He talks with coaches, with me, and he just improves every time. I was watching already him when he was playing in our academy, because he was in our academy, and he was really good. Yeah, I could say that he will be in LEC soon. So yeah, that's not a surprise for me. And if he keeps working on himself, he will be good.
All right, looking forward to seeing his development and also the next games for Misfits. Shlatan, thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you.
And we're going to take a break now, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes for Vitality versus SK. Stay tuned.
I'm gonna go take a break. Cool. Ooh.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
For those who watch, for those who move, for those who play.
Looking for the smite, he's done this before.
Now it's your turn to move to the big stage and play the match of your life.
Kia, movement that inspires.